Now, are you worried about not being able to afford a private property in future and wonder whether you should buy a private property now or maybe later? So in today's episode, let's discuss why we think people who can afford a private property in future will be those who owns a private property today. Private property prices are directly affected by the new condo prices. So to understand how private property prices are likely going to trend in future, we will need to understand the supply of new condos in Singapore first. So in Singapore, before developers build new condos to sell, they will first bid and purchase the land primarily through the government land sale scheme, where the government releases state land for developers to buy. Now, the other method would be via en bloc, where developers buy the land from the homeowners directly. This is a much slower and less predictable process, as a successful en bloc process requires getting the majority of the homeowners, up to 80 to 90% of them, to not just agree to sell, but sell it to the developer at their proposed price. Now, if the condominium has a lot of homeowners, sometimes it's going to take a long time before you get that majority vote. Moreover, if the first en bloc attempt is unsuccessful, the second attempt can only take place 2 years later. So that is why developers mostly purchase land through the government land sale scheme. So through the government land sale scheme, the size, the location and timing of when the land is released by the government for developers to bid largely depends on the home prices at that point of time and whether the supply and the demand are kept in balance, because essentially the government wants to have a stable housing market. So in Singapore, the supply of new condos follows briefly a 5-year cycle. Okay, you can see this cycle from this graph. So it charts the number of new condo units expected to complete or TOP, means the owners can collect the keys for each year since 2015. So the dark blue portion represents the private residential units, while the light blue represents the executive condominiums. So the green line briefly outlines this cycle of supply. So let's take a look at how the new condo prices and resale prices are affected by this 5-year cycle and how we can leverage on this information. So between 2015 to 2017, you can see that there were a lot of condos that were TOP'd, meaning to say the owners collected the keys and moved in. So the units that were unsold during the launch would also have been taken up by buyers who prefer to see the completed product. So this means the number of vacant new units in the market dwindled as seen in 2018 to 2020. So with this dwindling supply in new condo units, we see the new condo prices climbing in 2019 as the supply just could not keep up with the demand. So when the new condo prices become almost on par with bigger resale units in better location, it is no wonder buyers will turn to resale market. I mean, if I'm a buyer then, if I have this amount of money and then I realize, the new condos I can buy are smaller in size, the location is not so prime. Whereas the resale market, back then the prices were still reasonable. Or with that same price, I could buy a bigger resale unit that is maybe slightly older in a better location. Why not? So this shift in demand back to the resale market naturally drove the resale prices up. Thus, if you own a property then in 2021, your property could have benefited from the resale demand should you have chosen to sell it. So as the resale prices started climbing till it became too expensive, like what we have experienced in 2021 to 2022, buyers then turned back to the balance units from the previous new condos or upcoming new condos. So naturally, if I was a buyer then, with this amount of money, I realized, the resale market has become out of my reach. Then I might as well turn to look at new launches, new condos. At least they are newer. Yes, they might be smaller, but at least because they're newer, it makes more sense for me to spend that same amount of money. So this shift in demand back to the new condos is expected to continue in 2023, and is also the reason why we expect the new condo prices to continue to be on an upward trend this year. So this shifts in demand coupled with inflation is the reason why we see that the benchmark new condo prices rising by about $400 PSF since the last cycle as compared with 2015 to 2019. And we can also see how the resale prices are actually pulled up along with this rise in the new condo prices because of this shift in demand between resale and a new launch, etc. So what can we expect in 2023 and beyond? So this year, we expect rising demand in a new condo due to the soaring resale prices. So buyers are already starting to turn towards brand new units for similar prices. And developers know that, and they are likely going to capitalize on the demand by repricing higher whatever units they have left in their inventory. So with the price of new condos becoming on par with bigger and better resale units, we expect demand to likely swing back to the resale market in time to come. And similar to 2018 and 2020, the number of vacant new units available will continue to dwindle in 2024 and beyond, reducing the supply of homes. So if you own a property then in 2024 and beyond, we believe you can likely take advantage of the demand in the resale market. So in summary, upward rise in new condo benchmark prices through the 5-year cycle helps to pull the resale market along. And that is why we believe that those who can buy a property in future are those who own a property today. See, the value of your private property will not only rise with inflation, but benefit from the new condo prices as well. So thank you for listening, and I hope you found this useful. I'll see you in the next episode.